Welcome. In this video, we'll be covering the Smart Controller software and the online and offline or standalone modes of the till software. If you have watched the BPOS overview video, you will have seen that the till communicates with the Smart Controller software, and it is via this communications that the till can access the products and accounts and other information on the server's database. Okay, so let's start with the Smart Controller software. This only runs on the server, but it must be running at all times. Here we have a typical server's desktop. You can see that there is a folder called BPOS. Within the BPOS folder, you'll see when it is opened that there are numerous icons in there. Typically, you don't need to interact with these icons. However, the main one that you need to know about is the Smart Controller. As mentioned in the BPOS overview, the Smart Controller controls all the communications within the BPOS system. It must be running at all times. If the Smart Controller isn't running, the tills will show you a message to this effect. We'll look at that in a moment. Firstly, let's look back at the Smart Controller icon, and we'll double click on it and run the Smart Controller software. This is what the Smart Controller software looks like when the screen is being displayed. Typically, this screen will be minimized and all you'll see is a little icon in the bottom part of the screen. There is another video in the series that covers all the functions within the Smart Controller software, but as a user, you typically don't have to interact with the Smart Controller software. So what I'll do is I'll minimize it, and now you can see here is the icon for the Smart Controller that is running minimized. Okay, now let's look at the till. Firstly, at all the tills in your venue, typically whenever you turn them on, it will run the BPOS till software. You can also run the BPOS till software on any workstation in your venue. To do this, you run the program called SmartPOS. When I run this, my workstation is now running exactly the same as a BPOS till. However, it is important to note that the system must be configured to have a till on your workstation in order for this to run. We will now log on to the till, and then we'll come back to this in a moment. Okay, now let's quickly talk about how the till communicates with the rest of the system. Basically, there are two ways a till will work. It will either work in an online mode, or it will work on an offline mode. It is typical and preferable for a till to operate online. This means that it communicates real time with the Smart Controller for access to the database information. This gives the till real-time information on pricing, stock levels, and account balances. It also means that the tills can communicate with each other. Alternatively, the till can operate in an offline or standalone mode. This means that the till will access a database local to it. This enables the till to operate in a location that doesn't have any access to the server. This adds great flexibility in where tills can be located, especially in remote locations. However, at a cost of some of the real-time capabilities of the till. Therefore, the default operating mode of a till is online mode. However, there are occasions where you may have a fault with the network, or maybe a fault with the server, or even simply someone shuts down the Smart Controller application on the server. If this happens, the tills will display a message to the operator that it cannot connect to the server. Let's have a look at what this looks like. Firstly, we'll bring up the Smart Controller. As I'm running on the server, I can show it on the same screen, and I'll tell the system to shut it down. You see now that the till is showing me a message that the BPOS point of sale has lost connection to the host. The till will wait like this indefinitely for the Smart Controller to reappear on the network. The options I have at this point are simply start Smart Controller again, and all the tills will automatically carry on where they left off. Alternatively, I have the ability to click the cancel key, and you'll see here that one of the options I have is to use the local database. Once I select this, I can then select offline mode, and as you see, the till has started up using its local database, and it shows me that it's running in offline mode in the top left-hand corner of the screen. In this mode, whenever the smart controller is started in the background or the network fault is fixed, the till will automatically switch back to online mode and send all the transactions up to the server at that time. Let's have a look at this in action. Firstly, if I do a few no sales, you'll see that the top left hand corner, the offline sale count is increasing. Now, if on the system I start the smart controller is now started up, and you'll see that the offline transactions have been sent to the server and I have automatically been logged out, ready to log back in again. Once I log back in, you'll see that I'm no longer in offline mode, and in fact the till is running fully online mode. It is important to note that access to offline mode using the local database may be password protected on your system, or it may require you to restart the till for the offline mode option to appear. Lastly, a word on standalone mode. So far, we have been talking about offline mode. This is a temporary mode that when the till is normally running in online mode and you wish to use the local database, you can temporarily go into offline mode and the system will automatically revert back to online mode when the smart controller is available. Alternatively, if you wish to run in an offline mode permanently, you would select standalone mode. The two modes are exactly the same, the only difference being that when you're in standalone mode, the till will not try to revert back to online mode, and it knows that it stays in standalone mode permanently. However, it will still connect to Smart Controller in order to send the transactions up to the server real time. If the till is in a location that can never connect to Smart Controller, you can send databases and transactions back and forth using a USB key or similar sort of flash drive. This is covered in another video in this series. This has been an overview of the till modes and how the tills interact with Smart Controller.